On this next episode of Rooted, the podcast series, we feature DJ Element. This boy is bad, let me tell you. He comes from the turntablist world, has traditions and roots from way back in the day. His connection to some of our pioneers in the turntablist world we'll talk about. We'll get to see how he got into DJing, how he got into turntablism. We'll talk about his battle days and doing some of the battle circuits, as well as what happens after the battle circuit and some of his showcases around the world, around the country. DJ Element, one of the most important pioneers from my standpoint in the turntablist world. Crazy. If you want to see scratching on another level, check out DJ Element on Rooted. Here on Rooted, we talk about people, for me, that are important to the culture. So when we talk about the culture of DJing, the craft of DJing, the art of DJing, skills matter, I couldn't think of a better guest than from Phoenix, Arizona. His name is Logan, but we just call him DJ Element. DJ Element, how you doing, man?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. I just want to get right to it.
Okay.
And this will be cool for me to find out, man. Can you just tell us your origin story? Where does Element come from? Where were you born and raised? Can you just start there?
Shapawa, Skukdash, Logan Panchugik, or also known as DJ Element. And what I just said is, what's up, everybody? Good morning or good day. My name is Logan. Most people know me as DJ Element. And I'm from the Salt River Indian Reservation, which is just east of the city. And my tribe is Anakimer Autham, a little bit of a tongue twister. And in our language, that translates to the river people. And the mistranslation of our tribe is called Pima. And that's where I'm from. Yeah, born and raised here in Phoenix, Arizona. But
Element, that's awesome that you describe your ethnicity along with who you are, because we can't separate the two. You know, you talk about the reservation, and did you grow up on the reservation?
Yeah, born and raised, still live there, and yeah, that's where I was pretty much born and raised, yeah.
So how is a person born and raised on the reservation, but yet you found DJing? How did you find DJing?
I think it started with the cassette tapes. It was collecting them earlier years, maybe 12, 13 years old, with just a Walkman.
Okay.
That didn't have a radio, just the Walkman. And a beat up pair of headphones, and then, you know, having older siblings that listened to music of all sorts, all different genres, but mainly my brothers that, you know, were listening to like a lot of the earlier West Coast stuff as well as the East Coast, and popping in those tapes. And I think what I gravitated towards was the scratching, you know, so that's where it all started. Yeah.
Okay. So every DJ that got mesmerized by DJing, it had to start somewhere. So who inspired you, or what inspired you to get in the scratch world? Why?
I can tell you, I didn't have no DJ equipment, no turntables. Again, it's just silly to say, but I was just a kid, pair of headphones, and I heard the scratching on Yo Bum Rush the Show, which is Public Enemy's first album, and who I thought at the time did the cuts, which was Terminator X, because he's in the liner notes. That's what inspired me. And I was like, I heard, you know, the first three songs, and the one that stuck out the most that I probably, you know, rewinding the tape and playing it over was My Uzi Weighs a Ton. And then just hearing the scratching on that, I was mesmerized. I was like, man, what is that? How is he doing it? And then again, it's like we had regular TV, so we didn't have, I don't know, whatever was out at the time, MTV or whatever, to really get a visual and see him scratching those records.
For sure.
And that's what inspired me, yeah.
Did that draw you towards hip-hop as well? Like, why hip-hop? Why not another genre? Why hip-hop?
I mean, like I said, in my household, a lot of different things were being played. My mom and dad, traditional music, and then as well as, you know, jazz. My mom listening to old soul records, you know, and then as well as like maybe a bit of reggae.
Yeah.
You know, her and my aunt, they were really into it was a big palette. And then, of course, I am the youngest of 6 siblings. So my older brothers and sisters played everything you could think of, that was funk, soul, 80s, rock, and of course the earlier years of hip hop,
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me, Element, or tell the audience.
Okay.
We know what a turntablist is,
Yeah.
and the general public knows what a DJ is.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of want to educate those that don't know. How is it that you get into turntablism, and what is turntablism to you, as opposed to just general DJing?
Oh, okay. So give the definition, like
Yeah,
my
for you.
definition.
Yeah, for you, man.
So my definition of a turntablist is someone who takes sound or music. I mean, because I know it's not all vinyl these days. You can, get an MP3 and manipulate it as well. But it's taking songs and sound and flipping them and making your own music out of it, as opposed to when you're a DJ, you're just letting the records play and you're spinning for a party and everybody's having a good time. And, there's a big difference between just that and then your hands are constantly touching the records, and as well as, manipulating the vinyl and just trying to create your own sound. That's what turntablism is to me.
Got it. But I know you're a DJ also. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen you have bookings, and you're not necessarily cutting it up and ripping it up.
Yeah,
I'm
playing
not. Playing tunes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rocking a lot of clubs or parties and stuff like that still. Yeah.
Do you enjoy that as well?
Yeah, big time. I think that grew on me later, because when I first got into DJing, which was like around 1996,
Okay.
when I got into DJing, it was I gravitated towards, again, the scratching,
Okay.
the beat juggling, the back spinning techniques.
Got it.
And then just doing my own homework. And at the time, it didn't even seem like homework. It's just that I wanted to know more about this subculture that is hip hop to me.
Wow.
And when I was finding out who Grandmaster Flash is, Grand Wizard Theodore, Charlie Chase, DJ Hollywood, Kool Herc,
Yeah.
and it just blew my mind to know how long this had been around, and that there's an origin to all of this. And again, and maybe that's just me and where I come from in my culture, because that's what we do is we always pay homage and we always pay respects to those who have paved the way for you. So again, it was just like me getting into hip hop, but then just really diving deep into, way deep and above the surface, and really finding out what it was all about. Yeah.
Element, I've heard you always give respect to a guy named Breakbeat Lou.
Yeah,
You
Breakbeat
mentioned
Lou.
that.
Yeah.
How did you discover him, and why do you pay homage to him, man? What is that?
I would say him and another guy by the name of Lenny Len. They started, was it Ultimate Breaks and Beats, which was the compilation that came out. What was it? I could be wrong on the timeline, but I want to say in the 80s.
Okay.
But
Probably
it
late
made
80s.
Yeah, it might have been late 70s. I could be wrong. And a lot of those records they put on these compilations were pretty much tools that were used for every legendary producer in hip hop, whether it was Molly Mall or Dr. Dre or, you name it, Rick Rubin. They all sampled and used the Ultimate Breaks and Beats collection.
Okay.
As well as a long list of others, and they always bring that name up. And of course, I'm just going to flip it around and read the liner notes and just be like, oh, okay, this is who Breakbeat Lou is. And to fast forward a bit, in 2010, I was invited to be on the Rock the Bells tour when it was, going all from coast to coast. And we did Governor's Island in New York. And I met him. He was there. He was just walking around. And then somebody else had pointed him out to me. They were like, yo, there goes Breakbeat Lou. And I just heard the name.
Yeah.
And I was playing at the time, and I had somebody kind of play a couple of tunes. And I'm like, I'll be right back, because I don't think I'm ever going to see this guy ever again. So I took the headphones off, moved him to the side, and he saw me, and I'm looking right at him. I'm like, 1 second. He's looking at me like, who's this guy?
Wow.
I remember coming off the stage, and it wasn't really a big riser. And I'm coming there, and everybody's just kind of having a good time. And I'm like, it's nice to meet you. I just want to shake your hand. And I pretty much just gave him my introduction of where I was from. And he's like, oh, man, nice to meet you. And I'm looking forward to hearing your set. And he was a good guy. And
that's cool.
Yeah.
You mentioned something that I was going to bring up.
Go ahead.
So since you brought it up, I'm going to bring it up. I know you were asked to participate on the Rock the Bell show on Sirius Radio. So we're gonna do some name dropping here.
Let's go.
Please tell them how LL Cool J and his people find DJ Element.
Okay, now we got to bring up a legendary Arizona pioneer from here by the name of DJ Z-Trip.
Yes, sir.
And Z-Trip is the DJ for LL Cool J, even right now. and they rock so many shows. And most recently, he just did a tour called Force, the Force tour with Jazzy Jeff and the Roots Band.
Huge.
And a long list of just legendary acts: MC Lyte, Queen Latifah, Ice-T. The list goes on. And anyway, he's on board. He's there. He's like a resident, if you would, for Sirius XM Channel 43. Shameless plug. Rock the Bells Radio.
That's right.
And he reached out to me, and it was like I want to say maybe in the beginning of the pandemic, because everybody's just trying to stay busy, even though we can't be out there and doing gigs. And he just reached out to me, and they just asked me if I wanted to be on board and be a DJ for the station. And I jumped at it. I was like, man, this is an honor. This is a blessing. And yeah, even to this day, I represent Rock the Bells Radio.
Were you pretty geek when that care package came?
Oh, yeah. Did you see that? I think I showed.
I did my homework, man.
I think I showed a picture, and man, I couldn't even take it apart. It's one of those moments. It's a benchmark where you're like people you used to listen to growing up, like I said, back in the early 90s or mid 90s. And all of a sudden, it's kind of like everything going full circle, and somebody saying, hey, we would love for you to be a part of this. We like what you do. And it's somebody you listen to over and over,
You got an organ going there. No wonder the sound has so much body.
So I got to take you back. I want to talk about your craft specifically. So, audience, you might not know this interview is not about me, but I found this guy. I got to tell you how I found and discovered DJ Element, and I didn't discover him, but I'm saying how I was introduced to him. I wanted to increase my skill set in the on the turntablism side, because I can do some stuff, but the complexity and the levels that these guys are on is just crazy. I'd have to quit my job and practice all day if I wanted to get there, if I could get there. But I found this DJ named DJ Radar, and he was absolutely doing just really, really, really dope shit. He was drumming at another level. He was literally creating just so much percussive stuff. He was writing notes for scratching and things of that nature. So I'm taking his class, and Radar says he has a special guest that's going to perform at the end of that class. So we did it. We went through our class, learned what we learned, and this dude comes out, and I'm like, okay, let's see what he's about. I guess. I mean, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know he was a dope turntablist. But every DJ, like when you've been doing it for a long time, you always like have like a little thing on your shoulder. So I'm like, let me see who this motherfucker is, right? So that was my attitude, because there was a lot of kids.
That's that B-boy attitude. Like, what can this guy do?
What can this guy do, right? And man, so Element gets on the decks, and at this time, I think maybe Serato was out, but we were still heavy in the vinyl, because he had a stack of vinyl. It was about like that.
I did?
You did. It was all vinyl. I remember, because I'm a vinyl DJ.
Yeah.
But this dude played all vinyl. He did a routine. I can't remember everything that was in it, but I remember that Fabulous was in the routine.
Oh, I think I remember. Yeah.
Dude, it was fucking dope, right? And so I was just sitting there like, I was like a kid. And as old as you get, you love that moment when you feel like a kid. And I felt like a kid again, and it drew me back into why I love this art form of DJing. You know, just seeing it performed, getting excited, hoping you can do some of that stuff one day. Like you're just hopeful, excited, still naked and raw, and it gave me butterflies. I didn't know you. I probably said, "Hey, what's up, man? Good set." It was so long ago.
Yeah.
But the DJing guys, it was such at a high level. I never forget when I hear the truth. I call it the truth. You know the truth when you hear it. And I said, okay, that motherfucker's the truth. That's what I said inside my head. So years later, as recently as 2020, I found this dude, and it was on IG or something. I was like, Element. That's that badass motherfucker that was in Radar Session. That's him. And I called him. I hit him up. I said, hey, man. And then we talked, and I asked did he do lessons, or maybe he was telling me about lessons. And he started giving me a few lessons. I didn't stay consistent with it, but I was so glad to meet him again. And I just ended up watching him and just appreciating. And so I know that was a long interlude, but I want you to tell the audience about the hours of practice, man, because they're going to see a demonstration. But I want you to tell them about.
I hope I don't mess up.
I want you to just tell them about, like, how does somebody get that fucking sweet, man? Like what does it take? What was your journey to get that good, and how did you know you were getting good?
Go to cedar, stash in a dash, hold two heaters, black eye, put holes through beaters, ghetto fast, throw two cheaters, ball, Brooklyn. 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 Yeah. Put holes in beaters. Addicted to Chris, hold the door. Hustling, guys are sick hoes. Look at the hurt, your eyes are so closed. And here's a new way to flirt. Listen to the two-way you learn to go. Let's go.
I've been DJing for 28 years. The 2024 is my 28th year, so I actually have to pull this stuff out because I just don't have it memorized. I guess I'm getting old. Okay, so started in 1998. There wasn't a lot of battles that were coming to Phoenix, and so we ended up seeing a flyer because, again, internet was not out, and we had some friends that were from Oklahoma City, and there was nothing going on at the time in New Mexico, and I'm sure there's probably battles in LA, but we just didn't hear of them. And again, this was the days of flyers and somebody passing those flyers and having that little hotline at the bottom, information line at the bottom. And there was an event called Culture Shock, and it was put on in Oklahoma City in the summertime. And it was at this theater that is still there because I went to Oklahoma City recently. It's called the Will Rogers Theater. So it's called Culture Shock. And it was a B-boy battle, an MC battle, a graffiti battle, and a DJ battle. So it was just an all-out like battlefield. So mind you, I'm coming up, and if you pay attention to the years, I started in 96. I only had 2 years under my belt. 2 years. So I know there's seasoned veterans maybe from that area in the South, or people whoever got the word just like I did and went. And long story short, that's all I did was practice. So to tap on what he was asking me earlier about practicing and putting in the work, I did that a lot because I was broke. I didn't have I had a day job at one point and lost it. I used to work at the movies and I lost that. Because I burned the popcorn at the movie theater. The whole thing that you see before they scoop it, it was just all black. I messed it up and they fired me right on the spot. So again, that pushed me to be a DJ. That was another thing. So anyway, I go back to practicing. And my parents, in the beginning, my mother, she was very, very supportive. But the sound, is so loud. And of course, she has to wake up. She has to go to work. But my dad, he was the opposite. No support whatsoever. He hated it. Didn't like it. Always said, stay in the books, stay in school, and never sugarcoated anything. This is bullshit. This is nothing. And there was a point where we had it out. Never got into domestic violence or anything, but you're just listening to your dad, and this equipment you worked hard for, like that little job I did have was enough to save up for some techniques and a 2-channel mixer, a 05 Pro. And I just remember the turntable flying across the room. Hitting the wall, boom, because he was that sick and tired of hearing it through the speakers. Yeah. But again, it wasn't just that. It was the moment it let me know there was no support here. And it was like, I can't have this. So I ended up we have a storage that's connected to our house. It's outside, but there was no air condition. It's Arizona, June, July, August, September. Things don't cool down until like November. And it was just being in there with the Crater Records and practicing. And then again, the way I told you, like cassette tapes or vinyl records, and listening to somebody cut it up. I don't know, maybe it was DJ Premier, maybe it was whoever, just cutting it up in the hooks, and then you trying to emulate that and add it to your tool belt. And that just took a lot of and the VHSs too, that played a part in it too. So a lot of homework, and then just sitting there and practicing for hours on end before entering the battlefield. So here we go. Culture Shock, 1998. I was 17 years old, and I enter and I won. I came back and I felt like nobody's touching me. Like, I'm the shit. I am the best. And then you see people coming to your city, and one of the first guys I met, and I was like about 18, about that time. And I came back and I had this little championship, and nobody knows. Again, it's not a DMC, it's not a ITF, it's not a Guitar Center was doing battles. It was none of those. It was just a local battle that happened. But again, that's how we earned our stripes. And a lot of my friends were there, and that made the trip out. And they were like, yo, you took that, you won it, like, congratulations. But again, I also learned if you wanted to be here, you had to keep putting in work. Because little did I know, now there was, if you would, in DJ terms, there was a price on my head now. Because now everybody wants a piece. Like, who is this dude?
Dang.
I remember even that year, even in Oklahoma City, they had a few DJs that didn't like how the judges called it. And they were neutral. One of them was from LA, and I believe the other two were from Texas. One was from like Dallas, and maybe another guy from Austin. They were the judges. So again, I didn't know them. And, here I am, teenage kid, 17 years old. And then the veterans, I would imagine somebody who had some years under their belt was like, man, fuck this kid, man. Like, how did he win? So even after they already made the decision, they're still in the judges' faces. And I was like, oh shit. And then one of the older guys, that was in the battle, he's like, don't even worry about it. Like what he's doing right now, he's just showing his true colors, and nobody's ever taught that man how to lose. He's only been set on winning, or else it's, I'm the best and there's no way around it. And then again, I didn't make that call, and I ended up going back the following year. Cause again, there was still no DJ battles happening in Phoenix around that time. So I went back the following year and I won again. So 2-time champ for that event, Culture Shock. And I tried to go back a third year and I lost to a guy who was a good friend of mine. His name's DJ Abel. And we actually started a DJ crew like around that time, 98, 99. Yeah, 1999. It was called Versatile. And it was myself, him, DJ Action, Robbie Rob, DJ Radar, DBX, who at the time was in a rock band that was signed to MCA Records called Trick Turner. And who else was in there? A DJ Astonish, who just ended up coming up as well, and from my community as well, from Salt River, and I believe lives in Phoenix somewhere. But at the time, he was coming up, young teenage guy, a lot of potential, and then just went on to just do amazing things. So yeah, and then who else was in there? DJ Main One, who does a lot of clubs to this day in downtown Phoenix. So those Main, Astonish, DBX, Robbie Rob, Action, Abel, myself, and we call ourselves Versatile. It lasted for a couple of years, but again, we were just a bunch of battle DJs. Yeah. And so let me see. Right after Culture Shock, lost the third year to Abel. We started a crew, and then Guitar Center finally has locations in Phoenix. Tempe, they didn't have the one in Mesa yet, and there was one on the west side in Phoenix by Metro Center.
Okay.
And there were those two. Yeah, just Tempe, Scottsdale. Scottsdale was the last location to be built at that time. So there was Tempe, Scottsdale, and Phoenix. So we kind of had a plan like, okay, you go enter over here, you go enter over here, and we're just trying to get to the regionals. Because again, Guitar Center had some great prizes. Like I think that was a 2001 or 2002. They were giving away a car. So we're like, yo, we got to enter this battle. At least one of us will have a car. And so we were just excited. And I remember winning Arizona twice. And then you go on to the regionals, and my regional was in San Diego, and I came in top 3. But it was cool, but it was also a big lesson to be learned, because I think a lot of hosts at that time, not DJs, but hosts at that time, were really putting us on the spot as Southwest DJs that we had nothing to offer. Like I remember the introductions at that time for other DJs from Los Angeles, from Miami, from Seattle, from New York, or whoever. And then when it came to me, this is how it went. And mind you, I didn't even touch turntables. We just had a record bag, and you kind of they call your name, and then you get up there and set your stuff up. And it was like, this is what it was. I'm going to try to act it out. But the guy was like holding the papers like, from Phoenix, Arizona. And he looks at the other guy, the co-host, and he's just like, and I'm kind of like, okay, I get it. It's a joke. And he's like, what's out there anyway? Just like a bunch of cactus and tumbleweeds. And then everybody started laughing. Shit. So at first I thought, ha, 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 it's a joke. And you know what? If somebody was going to really do that to me, I would really appreciate it. Say, well, let me show you what I can do first.
Right.
Don't just size me up and look at me and say, just because of my city, like I ain't shit. And so I took it personal. I took it real personal.
Yeah.
And so every single guy that they matched me up with, I fucked them up.
Good shit. I love it.
And then I didn't win. I came runner up.
Yeah.
And the guy who won, he was from San Diego.
Okay.
So I gave him props. I gave all the DJs props, because they give you a little little prize, and then they hand you the microphone. If you got any words, oh, you gave me the wrong, you gave the microphone to the wrong person this time. Right. So, and mind you, I wasn't really much of a talker, but I at least had to speak up for my region. I had to speak up for guys in the Southwest that I know we can get down. And the fact is, I'm away from home, and you're representing your city. And then I just had to tell the host off. I was like, first of all, you ain't shit for that intro. And I was like, I didn't even touch the turntables, you guys. And he's already here talking about my city. And I said, and that's fucked up. And I said, but hey, guess what? I made top 3 or top 2. And I was like, and Everybody here did amazing. You know, it's not easy getting on stage. It's such a different feel when you get on stage and rock a party and you got a crowd in front of you. Yeah, you still, you know, you get nervous or jitters. But when you're battling, I think it's even twice as worse because you want to make sure, you know, you're really on a solid table. And if you're doing tricks, like, I mean, you're practicing them enough where you can land them. And back then we didn't have cue points like you have like on the digital interfaces. Back then we had like little stickers we used to place on them where if you put the needle on the sticker, it would by default go to what you wanted to scratch. Those were like our modern day cue points. So you always had to make sure your stickers were on point. The table was sturdy. Just a lot of these things people don't take into play that's what you have to do in order to pull off a clean set. And I just remember hearing those intros at the time. So, hey, if I can take some kind of credit at that time in the battle scene for trailblazing that, I can say that because there was maybe myself and just a few others, Able, Action, and at the time that we're battling at that particular moment where I don't know if they had to hear it like I did, but I mean, to me, it was pretty fucked up. Yeah. But I still went in there with my head up. I didn't look at myself as, oh, I'm not from, you know, these other cities they're mentioning. And at the end, when I got off stage, I'm glad I just shared those words to say, I ain't the only one you should be looking out for. I was like, there's a lot of us coming. And if you guys ever come to Arizona, come check us out, you know? And yeah, I'm glad to say it's flourishing. And there's so many great DJs now, even from Arizona. So entering competitions. That's the only way you can know if you're going to get good or not. Okay. And then again, like I said, when I was coming up, when I got into DJing, this is the truth. I never really got into it to rock parties. I got into it because I was gravitated towards cassette tapes as well as VHS. And out here in the Southwest, we had a few hip hop shops, if you would, record stores / it's the place you can go and get tips for spray paint cans, and they sell like Pumas and Pro Keds and you know, stuff to break in. So for all the B-boys and B-girls. Mm-hmm. And then, it was just a real small store. It was a couple of them. There was one called The Arena, which was in Phoenix. You had Style Rock, which was in Tempe on Curry Road. And when you would go, you would see mixtapes from everywhere. So they were from coast to coast. So you may get a mixtape from somebody from New York. And then right there in the mix, you have DJs on the West Coast that, you know, came out here on the regular, maybe for gigs. And I probably wasn't even old enough to go to those clubs. And you had the Beat Junkies, the Scratch Pickles, just off the top of my head, DJ Rectangle, and a long list of others. But when you heard their mixtapes, it just it blew your mind. And as well as the local DJs that we had that were just as good. You got Z-Trip, DJ Fashion.
Fashion, I remember.
Yeah, Fashion was another one. He was on the radio. Yeah, and his mixtapes, I remember telling him, this was a while back, we were listening to him in high school, and he was doing doubles. He was cutting it up, and he was playing his own style of music. Right. And it wasn't necessarily just based on either coast. Like, he played a little bit of everything, and he was, you know, really good, as well as Z-Trip and Radar. They were putting out mixes as well. And you hear the scratching. And again, going back to the VHSs, you've seen the DMC videos. ITF was very big back then, which was Alex Aquino, who was, like, I believe, the manager for the Scratch Pickles back in the day. And they did the International Turntablist Federation, and that was around, I want to say I could be wrong again on the timeline, but I remember them as far as 1996, and it was in conjunction with the Rocksteady anniversary, and they had this historical battle, which was the X-Men, who are now called the Executioners, versus the Invisible Scratch Pickles, and it was like an exhibition battle. But again, of course, everybody's going to make it an East Coast, West Coast thing, but it was just something to see, because if you're a fan of the art or just battle DJs and just them elevating the craft at that time, I couldn't fathom what any of those guys were doing, whether it was the beat, the Executioners, beat juggling, you know, Sinister, Rob Swift, Rock Raider, and then them going against Mixmaster Mike and Qbert and DJ Shortcut. Everything that they were doing, I was just mesmerized. Again, around when I started, 1996. So I was like, man, I want to do that. And so again, you kind of have a visual now of how these guys are manipulating the records. But not only that, a lot of the companies at the time that a lot of battle DJs revered to, which was like Techniques, of course, and Vestex. Vestex was very pivotal with their 2-channel mixers and Shortcut, and I believe Redmatic from the Beat Junkies. They had their opinions on this mixer being built, which was the 05 Pro.
Okay.
And so they would put out these VHS videos on the basics of scratching, baby scratch, transforming, forward scratching, or some know them as stabs, and also the basics of mixing and so on and so forth. I think it was called Turntable Wizardry, and I remember getting those VHSs. So mind you,
have one of those, man.
You're right. I think I have 1 or 2 of them still. I still kept all my VHSs too. Like I won't let nobody borrow them, because if you let the homies borrow them, you never got them back. It's like, oh yeah, let me get this one. I learned my lesson a long time ago, so I would just say, no, I don't know where it's at. But to this day, I still have all my VHSs.
Wow.
And so all those battle videos, the DMCs, the ITFs, and whatever else was out at that time,
you were watching them.
I was watching them, and then just rewinding them, and then you're just trying to emulate that. And probably wasn't until later on, somewhere down the road, where you start meeting them, you know, the champions and you know, whoever was winning at the time.
Shout out real quick to the executioners, rest in peace, Raider.
That's the homie right there.
Shout out to Trill, because that's a shop in Phoenix rooted in hip hop culture as well. I recently went to go see The Odd Couple. Rob Swift and Sinister came down there, and I introduced myself to Sinister. If you see this, you know I came up to you. I gave you love because you impacted me as a kid, wanting to be sweet, wanting to get into turntablism.
He's like my favorite beat juggler.
Dude,
like
I love his juggles, man. Love Sinister, man. And I'm so glad you're here.
One of the illest. Because I would tell him he's one of the first DJs I've ever seen, in my opinion, break a beat down like 4 or 5 times, and every single time it was just as funky as the first breakdown, you know. And I was like, that. I always told him, I was like, man, you're my favorite DJ when it comes to beat juggling. Yeah.
What it is Kendrick Lamar. Right now you're listening to DJ Element.
Yo, this is J. Cole, and you are live in the mix with DJ Element.
Shout out to Rob Swift too. Mad love to this guy because he's so eloquent about DJ culture, the way he talks and gives lectures about turntablism and how, you know, how important this craft is. But back to you, Element. You're very humble, man. I never hear you being braggadocious. So I'm gonna do all the bragging because they say, you know, let somebody else toot your horn. Well, I'm tooting. I'm doing all the tooting because this man carries himself in such a humble fashion. so respectful towards himself, towards his culture, which is really greatly appreciated. But I gotta know, at what point did you know? Because you gotta know. Okay, I'm getting good. I'm good. Shit, I'm a bad motherfucker because you've battled. So tell us about some of your battle history. You don't battle and you just, I'm all right. If you're battling, come on, man. You got to know.
I think even then it was more just earning your stripes. So there was a handful of DJs even out here where everybody was just trying to, I don't think personally people hated each other. I just think they just wanted to raise the bar. And as years passed by, we realized we were just elevating DJ culture in itself in Arizona, period. So no matter who was doing it, one thing that made me feel good when I started traveling about is that people would come back to Phoenix. We used to have a weekly, and it's still around to this day, called the Blunt Club. And that just, I think, passed almost, 15? I could be wrong again, and I feel bad. But it's, I want to say 19 years old. It's the longest running, real hip-hop night where you can see B-boys getting down, graffiti artists getting down, and MCs always, hopping on the mic, and then of course DJs, and we've had the executioners there, and a lot of the big battle, DJs and turntablists, and of course we always felt like that had to be there, that some way somehow we were gonna bring whoever was, the reigning DMC champion or whatever to the table, just so we can showcase that. Because again, of course there have been other DJs to come and rock it and everybody's just dancing and having a good time, but there was also that crowd that was like, I want to see some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, I guess it was just a different time because you had a big crowd of people on a Thursday night that would pay admission, whether it was $5, $10, $15, come in the door, and they would stand right in the front. And they were right there just waiting for these people to do these beat juggles or showcases that they've only seen on VHS video. And then again, this is probably about the earlier years where people had internet and maybe you had YouTube and you can go and see all that stuff. So to see like your favorite, you're just like, oh man, this is cool. Like I remember when Rock Raider first came, it was Mesa, Arizona, and everybody was like, what the heck? This guy's here and he's doing all the beat juggling and all the stuff that you've seen him in his world championship when he won the DMCs, and he's doing those routines here. Like you could just tell everybody that was mind blown, including myself. And I'm just on the side of the stage like, man, this guy is really good, and talk about that guy, another humble guy.
Yeah. You talk about seeing it in person. Sorry to cut you off, bro.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm not an expert interviewer. I'm just a DJ and I'm talking. So you guys can understand, I'm excited to hear him talk about this and voice it. Because me being a DJ as well, it's like you're like a kid in a candy store. And like you said, the video culture of like VHS, I never saw battles up close, like turntablism battles. So the battles I first saw, I was getting the DMs, it was actually called the Winter Music, what was it before the DMC? It was called something. The New Music Seminar, right?
Music Seminar,
so New Music Seminar, Jazzy Jeff, Cash Money. And then I remember I bought this VHS. Mixmaster Mike.
He won it one time. Who else was there? 8-Ball, DJ 8-Ball. He did the thing with the tone, the tone and stuff.
And so putting a big videotape in is the only way we saw it, And then I remember seeing DJ Miz and Aladdin, and I was like,
legends right there.
Watching this shit, like, and I'm like blown away. And so all I've seen is this stuff on video, then later, YouTube, the internet. By the time, and then I'm from DJ culture, so I've seen little DJ battles in Detroit, but not really turntablism stuff. Shout out to 12 Tech Mob of Detroit. That's about the only real turntablist crew that we had in Detroit. They were dope as shit. Man, Lynn Swan, Shotgun. These guys, bad as hell. Don Q, Scratcher, DJ Dez. So at any rate, when I came to Arizona and I saw you and Radar, literally, I'm seeing it in person, like looking at it almost as a first time, like not on video. Yeah. But to watch them, to watch it and see it,
techniques,
it just, I'm getting goosebumps, like I'm getting butterflies. And I'm like, man, and you guys took it to another level, like, because it keeps going. Like Cubert took scratching to another level, and to be up there fucking watching it. So as I watched you and I started, getting a few lessons from you, I'm gonna be a fanboy right quick. It was hard to concentrate. I almost want to cry saying this shit. It was hard to concentrate because not only am I a DJ, I'm a fanboy. I'm a fan of this shit. So I want to stop practicing and watch you cut. Right? I'm like, man, can you show me some of your cuts? It's like a treat. You know what I mean? It's like, you're a guitarist and Miles Davis is sitting there, or Prince is sitting there trying to give you, how you going to let Prince give you a lesson? You like, can you just do one of the things you did on the record? Yeah. And so I'm so happy to see you do it in my face. Like, it's like Michael Jackson moonwalking in my face and showing me how he lifted his feet up to do the moonwalk. You literally showing me the moonwalk when I watch you do what you do. And then all the memories are coming back and it's right in front of your face. So, man, I know I'm long-winded. I want to say thank you for all the hours you put in because you inspire us. And before we turn the camera on, I was telling Element, excellence inspires you in other areas of life. So it doesn't have to be just DJing, only DJs inspire DJs, but you could watch what a DJ do and it can inspire you to study harder in school. It can inspire you to work on your pass if you're a quarterback. Like, damn, this dude is tight. Shout out to Takashi Ayo, one of my favorite bassists. He's following you, I told you. I showed him the techniques and the stuff that you're doing and literally playing notes. He's looking at you from his musical expertise, appreciating what you're doing from a technique standpoint. Like, how did DJing become where you guys are artists, where it has to be a respected instrument? Can you just tell me that? How did you guys turn this turntable? You're supposed to be playing records, bro. Yeah. You're supposed to be just dropping records in.
I'm just a student of the craft. I mean, even for where we're at and what I saw, like you say, you sing it for the first time. One of the first guys that I saw, like live, like in person, was probably like from my community in Salt River, and these people are no longer with us. But at the time, it was just seeing a simple, basic baby scratch, choop, 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 or even not even doing anything with the fader, just the hand, just choop, choop, choop it. And I'm like, oh man. But again, it was a bunch of badass kids, if you would, around your DJ gear. So of course the DJ's gonna be like, everybody get back, don't touch anything,
right?
Don't touch my needles. Don't touch. That's what we had to deal with. So there wasn't a really big welcome to say, oh, come here, you kids, come gather around. Because I think, again, I don't think we had any business being that young, being at this house party, if you would. And we're like, oh, check out the DJ. He's killing it. Or, we're just watching from afar. And then right away he's looking at us like, don't even come close.
Yeah.
Stand back. And then this was the days of 10 crates of records behind you. Don't mess with my vinyl and don't bump the table. So again, we're like, okay, I just see the gear. I see RCAs. I see a mic and a lot of records. And that was the first teaching tool.
Wow.
Because there was no internet.
Yep.
There was no DJ class. So again, it was like, okay, just seeing those basic hand movements. And then again, this person was not getting super technical.
Yeah.
They were just playing songs at a party. And again, sometimes probably not even mixing, just kind of slam mixing and going into the next song.
Yeah.
And I was like, in my mind, whatever it was, 14 years old, 15 years old, saying, I want to do that, but I want to do it my way.
Man, let me give you some more flowers, man. You know how people have debates like, for example, the GOAT debate, is it LeBron or is it MJ, stuff like that. There's a subculture of the way we talk to each other. Like when somebody says, one of my boys sent me a video and dude is scratching in the video and he's a well-known DJ. It was good. And I texted him back. I said, but Element will fuck him up. Right. And then he goes back to me. I don't know, man, dude, da-da-da-da. I said, no. Check out how you're going to hear pretty much the same patterns after the da-da-da-da-da. And then watch Element. I'm going to go ahead and tag you on one of his videos. He's going to take it to the next level. And the next level is going to be, it's going to be some fatalist shit. And da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And so I'm literally having a back and forth Like when you little kids, well, my car's sweeter than yours. Well, that's my Corvette. Well, that's my Trans Am. No, well, the Trans Am is better. Like you had these little kid battles, and I've had battles that you don't know about.
Yeah.
Saying to cats, nah, man, I'm winning this. Element is sweeter. No, man, who you sweeter? No, this dude's sweeter. And it's so cool because you don't know about this shit.
Yep.
Right.
Setting me up like I don't even know. This guy's like, that's him on camera. Man, fuck that guy.
Right. But you said something to me a long time ago, man. You said I'll quote. You said it's levels to this shit, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the cool thing is that there's so many levels, So let me ask you.
Yeah.
Who do you think is sweet? Like, who do you look to and say, hey, that's a great turntable, so that's a great scratcher. I enjoy that. Like, who do you enjoy?
Shoot, there's like a few names I can mention. There's
Drop them, man. I want to hear them. We name dropping. I want to hear.
Dude. Okay, if I can start here in Arizona, and shouts out to DJ Radar.
Yes, sir.
That guy, hands down, is an amazing turntablist, and he's brought a lot to that as well. And I was a student of watching him. We used to practice together, and
wow.
I go to his house and we'd be sitting there for hours just scratching. And then again, I knew his ideas, his techniques were just way up here.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool to see somebody, welcome me into their home, and here I am just doing my cuts, and he's like, yo.
Yeah.
And give me some props, and that was very inspiring like in the earlier days. But more names, and these are just people I've looked up to. You have D Styles.
Okay.
D Styles from the Scratch Pickles / Beat Junkies. Like that guy is like Jimi Hendrix on turntablism,
wow.
on scratching.
Wow.
Amazing. From Japan, DJ Kentaro. He's like a DMC world champion, but not just because of that accolade.
Yeah.
If you ever listen to his music, you ever check out any of his clips online, YouTube, amazing turntablist, and just in my personal opinion, this is just mine, he has like the best set in the DMC World Finals. Like I think he had a perfect score all the way across by bringing genres together, but as well in a turntablist fashion. And I think he has, and I still check out the latest ones and who's out and, give people their due and respect. But Kentaro to me is still like the man when it comes to battle DJing.
Wow.
And
Tell us.
You put me on the spot, but that's all I could think of. Kentaro, D Styles, and there's another guy from Germany, and I have been watching him for quite some time, and he was just kicking everybody's ass in the ITF. And I think he has some DMC credits as well. His name's DJ Uncut with the K. DJ Uncut. And that guy is a beast.
I'll be
you
YouTubing.
See him?
Okay.
Oh, man. And then I don't want to butcher the name. Another one from Japan, if I can drop one more. It's Maya Jumi.
Okay.
And we've actually just met on social media too. And then just say, hey, I've heard of you. Or like, well, nice to meet you because
wow.
Let's say 2001, and for many years over, I have been invited to play and perform in Japan, in Tokyo. And we've never met there, but he was just like, you've been to my home, you've been here. How come I've never, met you? And I'm like, well, the majority of the things I was out there for wasn't necessarily DJ battle or turntablist related. It was for more of the B-boy, the breaking stuff. And that's what brought me out there. But again, it's like meeting him again, and we would share certain techniques, ideas, and that's another big inspiration. And I don't even know if he knows it, but that guy is another one. He's just a beast, man. He's bad. And then one more, if I can, because I'm thinking of other names.
Please do.
From the UK, from London, goes by the name of DJ Tiger Style.
Okay.
That's another one where I'm just like, anything this guy does, I'm just like, it puts me back to the drawing board. It puts me back in, like, yo. Like
that says a lot, man.
That is very inspiring, and that pushes me not to try to do something he's doing, but it pushes me to step my game up and get up and not just be comfortable and keep elevating whatever it is I'm trying to work on.
So before we get to our little set, and Element's gonna have some fun. I didn't make him prepare some whatever. He's just gonna do his thing, and I'll be surprised too. Whatever the hell it is, we'll just enjoy it and love it. But are Are you touring? What does a DJ do? Are you producing a little bit? You're an active DJ.
Yeah, I had to take a deep breath. Oh man, where do I start? I've been touring quite a bit. Most recently, I have a friend that I tour with, an indigenous artist. I can't even speak. An indigenous artist slash a flute player slash motivational speaker slash comedian. This guy does it all, and he's a traditional fancy dancer for us and Native people. And he goes by the name of DJ. I almost called him by his DJ name only because, and we laugh about this, but he started as a DJ.
Okay.
And so, but the artist's name is Supaman, Supaman. You guys can Google that guy. Won a VMA award in just most recent years, and we've been friends for quite some time. It's a very, very small circle within the indigenous community as far as entertainers. Yep. And so we knew of each other. He reached out to me, and we decided to work on some stuff. And long story short, we started to tour just before the pandemic.
Okay.
We lined up a few dates, and the pandemic happened. So the whole tour went down the drain. I think we only got off like maybe 3 shows. We did like Portland, Grand Rapids, and I think it was Vancouver.
Okay.
And right when we were coming back from Vancouver, because we tour a lot of indigenous communities. So here in the United States, they call them reservations. But when you go to Canada, they call them reserves. So we flew into Vancouver, and we did 2 reserves. And what we do, I guess I didn't really speak on that, but what I do with this artist, Superman, is we tour predominantly in indigenous communities. So we go and then talk to a lot of youth, and it's across the board. I mean, it's just a message of uplifting, one another, cultural identity, preservation of the land, and just letting them know that we're just not 2 random Native guys, that if we can do it, they can do it. And then just to uplift one another, because alcoholism and drug abuse runs very rampant in a lot of indigenous communities, as well as, and it's sad to say, but a suicide rate for our communities is 3-4 times higher than the national average. So we kind of just took it upon ourselves to use hip hop as a tool to tell our story our way. And so again, that's what we're doing now, and we're very blessed and honored to be 2 independent artists. We're not signed. We do everything ourselves. And shouts out to him and his team, because a lot of what we do is because of them. And he has a clothing line called Good Medicine Clothing, and has released an album, a couple of albums. I'm sorry, I'm just going off the top of the head. Okay. And they have been very successful, and he's went viral many times with his videos, and I'm very inspired to say I tour with this guy. And just last year, I think we talked about, we knocked out over 80 shows last year.
Crazy.
And so since, the pandemic, or, the, what do you call it? The mandates were lifted, and you're able to tour again. And, we were able to get off that many shows, and we are not slowing down anytime soon. We recently just, for us here in the Southwest, or in Phoenix, we just got to do halftime for the Phoenix Suns and Minnesota Timberwolves game.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool. And we tour quite a bit. So.
As Superman, we're glad to see you active, man. And Element, thanks for sharing who you are as a person as well, as well as being a DJ, because the 2 are just interconnected. And I can see the love you have for your community. And I know the Native community is very proud of you, man.
Oh, man. That day, trust me, we were in tears.
Really?
I mean, yeah, because here in Arizona alone, we have, I could be wrong, but I want to say 29 tribes all over the state. And they come to the game, just like everybody else does. And that particular day, they were honoring indigenous communities. Even the players wear a certain jersey. It's like a turquoise one. And since we're called the Phoenix Suns, everybody in their own language, mind you, every single tribe has their own language. So contrary to the belief from Hollywood that we all speak the same language, it's not true. So just in Arizona alone, that's 29 different languages. And so in every single language, they had what they called the sun. For us, all of them, we would say Thosh, and that means sun. And so they wrote it out, and it's all over the jersey, and it's embroidered. And of course, they use the color turquoise because we look at that mineral as for ours. I can't speak for any other tribe. I had to put that little disclaimer. I can only speak for my tribe, but also, and I know a lot of other tribes do, they look at that as something to heal, something you would take in battle, something you would hold very close, and to know that this is from your family. You know, it binds you. It brings unity, and that's turquoise. And so that's why you see the jersey color of that.
Okay.
So again, it's a very special time when they brought us out. And then when we were done, you know, we're leaving, and the game wasn't over yet. I think it was like still in the third quarter. And as we're walking out, and mind you, he still has, if I can educate some people that are watching this, when you see what people would buy on the stores and the shelves, we don't really approve of that. It's called, you know, we look at it as cultural appropriation. Like, you don't just buy feathers and stick them in your hair.
Sure.
And, oh, I'm an Indian. Like,
It's insulting.
it's very, very insulting. And so, again, we like to say outfit or regalia. And so going back to what Superman was wearing, he was wearing his regalia. We're just in like the atrium way, like before you walk into the arena. And we didn't know. And then, you know, we went to meet a few people, shake some hands, and we were just out the door. But as we were, the cops look at us and they're like, hey, how you guys want to do this? And we're like, what are you talking about? We already did halftime. We're on our way out.
Yeah.
You know, we thinking like, why are these guys coming up to us? What did we do? Did we start some trouble? And they were like, turn around. We turned around, and it was like this long line of people.
Wow.
And predominantly, it was out of this whole arena, it was like majority of all indigenous people. Hi, we're from the Onontham Nation, which is near Tucson. Hi, we're from Navajo Nation, which is in the Four Corners area. Hi, we're from the Hopi Res, et cetera, et cetera. And hearing a lot of elders or people that just came to the game with, you know, their family, their kids, saying that was very special what you guys did for halftime, and to represent all of us, not just in this arena, but in this state. You just didn't represent for your tribe. You represented for all of us. And I think at that moment, it's kind of like, it was very heartfelt. And it was an honor. You know, I was like, thank you. Because again, it's like, even being here, being born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona, even passing by that arena, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I played in a lot of clubs. I played in pretty much every single venue in Phoenix. But, you know, one day I used to say, oh, that'd be cool if I could play there. Yeah. That was nice.
Doing that.
And then when I did it, it was like, this was like at its highest point for me to showcase turntablism, not just backing up an MC and, you know, just doing the ad libs. It was, I had my time to showcase.
Yep.
And people remembered that. And, you know, and other people I knew even from back in the day were like, yo, we went to high school together. Yo, I saw you killing it. And yo, you're still doing it. Like, wow. And I'm just, you know, it was just a moment to reflect. And that was that one moment, if I could share, that was very special. And more recent times, that was not even but a couple of months ago. Yeah. And then just last year, I want to say November, us being invited to the Lincoln Center in New York City, and then hearing about, like, if anybody knows anything about when B-boys and they were breaking at the Lincoln Center, when it was like the opening ceremony for the Olympics when it was hosted in New York. I was like, we're on this same stage. And we're like, and we did it our way. We gave them our full show, which is about an hour to an hour and a half long. And we had some traditional dancers with us on stage. And we just did the best we could do. And then again, it was kind of like, it was I don't want to say a standing ovation because everybody was already standing. But as we were done, it was kind of like, I think he was just running through the motions like, yo, we just rocked it. Like, wow, this is a beautiful crowd. I had to pull a Steve Crawford and be like, wait a minute. All right, give me a minute.
Yep.
And I had to grab the mic, and I had to let everybody know and say, this man is from Crow Agency, Montana.
Yes.
He is Absalagan, which is Crow, or the mistranslation will be Crow Native. And I said, I'm Pima, or Unoccupied Autumn, from the Salt River Indian Reservation in Arizona. I said, and we made it to the Big Apple. Like, we know this is the Mecca.
Wow.
We know, like, shouts out to Cool Herc. You know what I mean? Shouts out to, you know, all the pioneers. And we're like, and we're here, and we did it our own way. And we're just honored that all of you were here to share what we had to offer, you know, as a performance and a set. And then right after that, I just look into the crowd, and including them and us, we all just like hugged it up, and everybody was like in tears, and it was like a special moment even then. So I was just like, man, that was a moment that money can't buy, you know. And I'm so thankful, because all I could think about is like the beginning of this interview is being 15, being 14, popping in cassette tapes, listening to it, not even knowing that at some point you're going to become a DJ or quote unquote entertainer, and you're going to go through what I like to consider the peaks and valleys of a career. Like there's no such thing as the mountaintop and the end all and, all of that stuff. It was just more of, wow, everything came to this point and this is where we're at now. And that's what made it special.
Element, man, thank you again for coming out to the show. This is Rooted, DJ Culture and Beyond. And we have a community thanks for DJ Element, Phoenix's own, from the reservation. Just a great human being and a great talent. You have been rooted in your culture and rooted in this DJ culture, and you are a contributor. And not only are you a contributor, you become an architect yourself with your entire body of work. So how you always pay tribute to the legends, I'm personally paying tribute to you, and I want to say thank you, brother.
Oh, thank you for having me, man. And shouts out to everything you're doing with this show, and I wish you all the best in everything you're doing with this podcast. Yeah, when you reached out, man, I said, yeah, I got it. Let's do it.
Now it's time for our wrap-up. Let's give it everything we've got. Ready? Begin.
For aspiring DJs, do I have any advice? Yes, get out of the way. We don't need you. We need all the gigs, us older guys. And we don't care about the future. You're watering it down. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
We forgot to cut that part.
I know. Oh, shoot. No, leave all of that in there. Not just kidding. Yeah, no. If you want to get good, put in the work. There's no shortcuts to it. I know there's a lot of sayings where it's not what you know, it's who you know. Very true. But you want to put in that work. You want to put in that practice. And you want to develop your craft. It's like, look at every single song if you're just mixing. Look at every song as like a puzzle piece to a jigsaw. And you want to put them in the right place. You don't want to force it, but you want to put it in there where it fits in there where it's supposed to be. So we can all see the picture you're trying to make for all of us to see. That should be a way to look at your set. I know it's a stupid analogy, but that's the first thing that came to my mind, to just look at it and say, oh, okay, that's what that person does. That's the picture they paint for us, and I can dig that. And I think that's, when you look at it like that, it's that's where all the work comes in. You know, put in the work. No shortcuts around it, and we all have our off days. Nobody's perfect. You know, we're all flawed. And you crash and burn 9 times, get up 10. I mean, I'm sure a lot of DJs are going to think I'm stupid for this, but I do very minimal, you know, stuff on social media. I know everybody's got a Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, you know, Twitter, all this. And I think the only thing I mainly use is just Instagram or /threads. And that's at DJ Element AZ. And music wise, that I can talk about. So I still have a SoundCloud and a Mixcloud page. And it's the same thing. It's at DJ Element AZ. So you can hear all my mixes, past mixes, because if it's one thing I've learned is that I still circulate those things and it still gets me gigs even to this day. So I've never stopped making them. And and this is no shade towards anybody that's doing this and they're good at it, but I don't sell any of my mixes. They're all free. I've never asked for $5-10 for a download or anything. And again, like I said, I'm not throwing shade, to each his own. If you can make your money, do you. But I think as many shows as I'm doing now a year, I'm thankful for that. So the least I could do for myself and the people that I've met along the way, all walks of life, is just to still give them that gift of music. Because again, I'm really heavily involved with the b-boy and breaking scene. So it's like a lot of funk and soul comes out of me, and a lot of hip hop, of course, because that's just my bread and butter. And I know that's just it could be dissected in different ways just to say hip hop, but let's just say classic hip hop. Yep. Yeah. So, but